the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
In the year 2024, Hollywood has found itself in a challenging position, with numerous studios confronting box office disappointments and none facing closer scrutiny than Disney. As we edge closer to 2025, everyone's attention is focused on the live-action Snow White remake. Yet, it's not merely the production itself that's generating discussions, it's the press tour, the persistent backlash, and the lead actress, Rachel Zegler, whose remarks seem to be intensifying the issue.
Prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
So, what exactly is happening behind the scenes of this highly awaited but already contentious film? Let's examine the situation in detail. Disney's Snow White remake appears poised to be one of the company's most significant releases of 2025, but not necessarily in the manner the studio would prefer. Following the lackluster performances of recent titles like The Little Mermaid and Elemental, Disney finds itself on unstable footing. Combine that with the uproar surrounding Rachel Zegler's casting as Snow White, and it becomes clear that the 2025 Snow White project carries enormous risk.
Critics saying Disney's too woke, but you're just putting out storytelling.
We are. Look, I don't really like the term woke because
The movie's attempt to update this classic fairy tale by featuring a more diverse cast and spotlighting social justice has not gone unnoticed. It has triggered fierce criticism, with many predicting it could become Disney's largest failure yet. Part of the negative reaction stems from the gap between Disney's ambitions for the film and what its audience actually wants.
Disney has botched this Snow White movie every way it's possible to botch the Snow White movie. So you'll recall that originally the Snow White movie starring Rachel Zegler.
Enthusiasts of the original 1937 Snow White and the Brothers Grimm narrative are irate about this re-envisioning. Some accuse the adaptation of deviating excessively from the source material by substituting the traditional Snow White with a more contemporary version aligned with social justice themes. Families, especially loyal Disney devotees, are expressing their opposition. Some are even threatening to boycott the movie entirely. The movie's emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, has only added fuel to the fire, with critics alleging that these values are being emphasized at the expense of the core story. Amid the growing backlash, Rachel Zegler has come forward to defend the film and its message. In a recent statement, she asserted that Snow White was conceived for the modern woman, crafted to instill courage and empowerment. Zegler claims that this version gives Snow White a newly shaped past, portraying her more as a warrior confronting societal norms. However, what began as a defense of the film quickly escalated into a broadside against its critics. Zegler believes that those who oppose the movie simply failed to grasp its deeper purpose. "This is a film for women," she declared, brushing off the criticism as the work of a vocal minority that fails to understand the film's importance. Her stance that Snow White isn't driven by an ideological agenda, but rather celebrates diversity and inclusion, has only intensified the debate. For a long time, DEI has been a controversial topic in Hollywood, and of late, it has become more incendiary than ever. Many detractors argue that Disney is deploying DEI primarily as a promotional tool rather than reflecting a sincere cultural transformation. Attempts to weave present-day social issues into a family-oriented fairy tale have polarized audiences, with some accusing the studio of pandering to woke sensibilities instead of simply telling a timeless story. Another point that has struck a chord with both fans and critics is Zegler's increasingly self-assured and, some say, egotistical demeanor. During a recent interview, she boldly claimed that once the movie is released, its critics would change their minds and hail it as a classic. This attitude has been criticized for being tone-deaf, as it appears she's more interested in justifying her own significance than acknowledging why the film is facing widespread rejection. What makes the whole scenario even more perplexing is how Disney is managing the film's promotional campaign. Observers are asking why the studio has allowed Zegler to continue her outspoken commentary without any visible repercussions. There's speculation that Disney may have already accepted the possibility that the film is doomed. With its debut still a year in the future, the studio could have written it off as a potential loss. By letting Zegler speak freely and fuel the controversy, Disney might be signaling that it's relinquishing control of the narrative. At this stage, the film is what it is, and they're giving Zegler the spotlight, fully aware that it's too late for any significant changes. There's a genuine possibility that Snow White could become a pivotal moment for Disney. If the film fails as many expect, it might mark the end of the studio's era of live-action remakes, especially if the continued emphasis on diversity and inclusion keeps alienating Disney's core audience. For years, Disney has leaned heavily on reimagining its classic animated works, but this Snow White remake might be the last straw if it doesn't resonate with viewers. Could this finally be the juncture where Disney acknowledges that mixing politics with entertainment might not be the winning approach it once hoped? As we look ahead to Snow White's release in 2025, the controversy surrounding it is gaining momentum. From Rachel Zegler's increasingly defensive and self-centered reactions to the criticism, to Disney's apparent absence of a cohesive game plan, it's clear that this remake has taken on a significance beyond a mere retelling of a beloved classic. It has become emblematic of the broader issues associated with Hollywood's recent fixation on diversity-focused storytelling. Will the movie achieve the success Disney is hoping for, or will it go down in history as a costly misstep? Regardless, it's sure to have a major impact. And as audiences continue voicing their discontent, one thing is undeniable. 2025 is shaping up to be a defining year for Disney and the future of live-action remakes. So, how about you? Do you think Snow White will be a watershed moment, or will it prove that Hollywood needs to reconsider how it approaches storytelling? Share your thoughts in the comments, don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates, and I'll see you in the next video.